Today I have to do this video because depression is closing in on me. It's consuming me because I have been hesitating to address this issue for the longest time. And it is a no-go zone for a lot of people. So I am not the only one. And there are many people that are silent about it. But there are people that are sticking their necks out and on the chopping board. Yeah, anything can happen, but they've taken the risk. And I know that I'm one of those that should be speaking about it. And I will talk about the Israel-Palestinian conflict that erupted on October 7th, 2023. You see, I consider myself a social observer, a commentator of social events, an interpreter of these events, and a storyteller. And I do this with the hope of making the world a better place. If I could just shut up, I would. And I think that those people that are speaking out understand exactly what I am talking about. So if you stay with me to the end, I have 7 reasons why I'm breaking my silence about the Israel-Palestinian conflict. I got depressed in the past because of the wars, and I do get depressed because of the wars. And I did not have a voice then. Many years ago, I was an observer, and actually I got depressed by it. It took so long to recover. But now I have a voice, and I'm risking all that I have to speak out. In addressing this Israel-Palestinian conflict, you might be thinking that is a sensitive no-go zone for me. I wouldn't go there. Or you may be thinking, I am pro-Israel, or I am pro-Palestinian, or I am a religious person. I do not mix religion with politics, or I'm afraid of being labeled anti-Semitic because this is a dangerous thing to talk about, to address. You see, all these reasons are legit. They are legit. And even if you're just an observer, that is another role, that's another side you're taking. And this is people are facing their fear factor right now, whether to talk or not to talk. And I've been there before for so many decades. And it's because of my religious views. I was for one side and criticizing the other side. And, you know, from a religious point of view, many of us have been conditioned to just think one way and not to see the other person, or to see the other people are so different and they need to be like us. And we are discouraged from exploring what the other beliefs are. And for me as a person, I love knowledge, and I love pursuing knowledge, and I love knowing other people and how they live and what makes them tick. And over the years, I have explored this side, and I acquired a lot of knowledge. And there are people that are afraid of knowledge, because even religious people, some have a belief that the more you know, the more responsibility you have with that knowledge. And because it's so powerful, what you might find, it's better to stay away from it. And so a whole religious sect stays away from knowledge. And they are correct. Because over the years, after I've acquired so much knowledge, I reached a point where this knowledge wants to come out of me, wants to be expressed to outside of myself, within my family, within my community. And scary enough, it's coming to a point where I'm expressing it to the world. And I have all those fears of, I'm dealing with all that, all those excuses that I mentioned before. One of my favorite spiritual teachers said something that is very powerful about knowledge. He says, first of all, you learn it, and then you live it, and then you share it. And he says we have a responsibility to share that knowledge. And I would like to acknowledge my father for this, where I'm at right now at this point. It's a very crucial point for me when I address this topic of Israel and Palestine, because I was struggling with it for a very long time since this conflict started, reached its climax on October 7th. And my dad was, I would say, he was a politician, okay, for sure. And I grew up hearing all his political views, strong views, scary views within the home. And as a child, I was scared by it. And I never really thought it impacted me until 2017, shortly after he passed away. All the knowledge about politics came to me, and I reviewed all that he believed, and it's like a veil was lifted out of my eyes, and I thought he was so correct, right on about this politics, about this, about that government. And he was interested in international politics as well. He was well read, and he read every newspaper available. He listened to every possible news he could find. And now I think, shoot, now I have that responsibility to carry on. And I've become very passionate about it because the knowledge has opened my eyes to so many areas that were closed before, closed by religion, closed by ignorance, closed by the fear of knowing other people, of being open. And so I feel ready. I feel ready to do my part. Of course, that's the responsibility of the knowledge at hand right now. And I feel ready. I had to be ready. I must be ready. So I have my notes with me, so to make sure that I don't miss anything, because this is very important for me and I want to give it my very best. I feel that I have only one chance to do it. So what gives me the right to speak about the Israel-Palestinian conflict or the war? I grew up in Kenya, and my whole life I have heard about this conflict, and I heard it in the radio those days, and it has not stopped. And I'm tired of it. I am really sick and tired of it, and it's reaching the proportion that it is unimaginable, unthinkable, the decimation of people. And I have a responsibility to address it. And number two, I grew up in a colonized country that was oppressed by the British. And I hadn't been born then, but we had a group uprising to resist this foreign invader. And that's called the Mau Mau. And we never really understood it. We grew to fear them. But now I do understand the role of the Mau Mau. They were fighting for us. They were resisting a foreign invasion that was taking away land, taking away lives, changing our culture, changing our languages completely, and dividing the country and making us inferior in our own land. Number three, and this is really a tough one, but I am tired of Israel, the government of Israel, and the Zionist movement calling everybody anti-Semitist when you address them, when you call them to answer for their atrocities. And I'm tired of that, because I do not hate the Israelis, or what they call themselves. I am a person who loves all cultures. I'm a multiculturalist, and I love all religions, but I don't stand injustice And that's why this one really gets me. So that they have made it impossible to criticize them. And then it gives them then the right to go around and do whatever they want. No, it's not about hating Israel. It is calling them to book, to answer for what they're doing. So I'm not going to shut up because of that. I have crossed that zone. That's why I'm talking today. 4. I have been a supporter of Israel most of my life as a Christian, to pray for the peace of Israel, to support Israel. And I've been there, I've done that from a Christian perspective. And now I have understood so much more about Israel, about cultures. And I am ready to address this. And right now I'm asking myself, and who are the Semites? And who are the Japhethites, if you want to say? And who are the people of Israel? Who are the biblical Israelites? And who are the people? Who are the Zionists? There's a very, it's like a dissection on the table. And I've been doing that so that when I address this situation, I am ready and I'm taking responsible for this. And number 5, I am a social observer, as I said before, and a commentator of social events because I observe things internationally, okay? I'm interested in international things. And this, as I said before, this issue has the potential to shut me up because of the sensitivity of it, of being labeled an anti-Semite or anti-Semitic. But as we can see in the world today, people don't care about this anymore. People are calling things the way they are. So there are two sides. They're the pro-Palestinians, they're the pro-Israeli. But I like to look at this from the point of view of history. And I might add, I want to add it to this right now, because actually we should not leave the British out in this conflict. They created this situation. Britain, I'm calling you out, the British government, the colonial government, and I want to say right here, wherever you went into this world to oppress people, you shitted on everybody. Sorry, no, not really, no apology. You created a mess everywhere. And so this conflict, we should pull Britain to the table, and the Americans who also meddled in there and endorsed this, the settling of the Zionists in Israel. So you see how complicated this situation is. And it is just not religious. It is also political. It deals with genealogy. It deals with culture. It deals with geography and history. There's so many layers to this situation. And I am for justice. I am for righteousness. And I know I have a big mouth, a God-given big mouth. I have been resisting my voice for the longest time. And even this issue, I have been resisting. But I have a responsibility. And I want to say that I am also a student. I have been a student of history, genealogy, culture, theology. And, you know, so these things are very, very clear to me. And I just want to have to say that if everybody really shut up, is intimidated to shut up, not address this situation, not address both sides. Because I think that if Israel really hadn't settled there, I mean, this, and again, we have to separate between the Zionists, which is the Israeli government, and the other people who are living there, the real Jews, you know, And somebody will say, what do you mean the real Jews? Oh man, I think I'll have to do another video. This is a whole other thing. This issue wouldn't have been there if there was something, I call it copy and paste. Somebody else moved from another place and planted themselves there and created this conflict. And I was discussing with someone the other day, and I said, it is like I have siblings, and I have their children and my children. And if my brothers or sisters' children would come into my territory, into my home, and displace my children and call themselves my children, and that my children do not matter anymore, but this is the copy and paste situation. And I think that's the simplest way that I can address the Zionist movement and the present state of Israel. And you can also see that even their own people, many of their own people, their religious people, are condemning them, and they're saying this is not part of who we are as a spiritual people, as religious people. So this is pure politics, and it's very messy. It's very dirty. And I have been pulled into it. And I'm ready. So here are my 7 reasons why I am breaking my silence about the Israel-Palestinian conflict or Israel-Palestinian war. Number 1, we have to address the issue of Hamas. And we have to go deeper and understand how Hamas came about and who created Hamas and for what purpose. And I would like to call the Israeli government to answer this question, because they have the answer. They know what Hamas is about. And I would like to say, I call Hamas a boomerang. And I think you understand what I mean by that. And number 2, the situation in Gaza, in this conflict, we all know, if we've been observers of this, we knew that one day it will come to a climax. It was just a percolating situation, and we were not fooling ourselves. And because it's been so difficult to resolve it, it had to come to this. And I have to say, I do not condone violence. I really do not. And so it is a situation that has been created, and it's come to bite the people there. Number 3 is the issue of apartheid. And as I've mentioned before, that I grew up in a colonized country, and there were lines drawn between the locals and the colonizers, and maybe not to the extent of South Africa. We've seen what happened in South Africa. Why would this be different? What's happening in with the Palestinians is apartheid. Let's call it the way it is. And were we being fooled that this is going to go forever? They created a utopia there. And utopias, they implode. We know that. And so it was bound to happen. And if you create apartheid, it will lead me to my 4th point. Freedom, lack of freedom. That percolation, tying people's freedom, because freedom is one of those fundamentals of humanity. And that has been taken away, and you put thousands of people in a small or a big, it's called an open air prison, and deny them the basics of life. Israel, what were you expecting? What were you expecting? You are the architect of this situation. And sadly enough, you have experienced that situation yourself, what happened in Germany was very sad. And you recreated this. And this is what happened now. Number 4 or number 5. Israel is a hypocrite. And again, we know that people that oppress other people, it doesn't matter where, but this is a tool of the oppressors, a tool of colonization. And is Israel a colonizer? It's not called like that. Israel is not called like that. But what the tools that Israel is using are the same tools that colonizers use. And my 5th point is labeling of people. Okay, as I'm going to say, talk about the Mau Mau of Kenya, because this situation, this conflict is bringing out the histories, the past, awakening the injustices of people who've been oppressed before, who've been colonized before. And our Mau Mau people, freedom fighters, they were labeled bad people, terrorists. And even the Kenyans themselves were made to think they were bad. And I grew up not thinking Mau Mau was bad, was good. They were turned against us so that we could out them and fight them ourselves on behalf of Britain, the colonizer. The same thing happened in Canada. A freedom fighter called Louis Riel was labeled a rebel, anti-government, and he was hunted to death. And so the Palestinians, when they assert themselves each time, they are labeled terrorists. And this label allows the hunters to hunt them. And we've seen that. This is a tool of the Western governments. They've done that in Iraq, in Libya, in the Gulf War. You know what? I am calling you out. This labeling is terrible. And we know that even during the time of the Holocaust, the Jews were labeled so that people could turn against them. And Israel is using the same tool. Labeling is really, really dangerous because it makes other people see those labeled ones not anymore as worthy of love. And we are happy when they're destroyed. Number 6 is a question. What is the purpose of war? Any war. Is it possible to end wars? Is it? Yes? No? And who loses when war is lost? When war is terminated? Ask yourself about the economics. You know, war is a money maker. And there are many, many people who have invested in wars. And so that's another question. Those people who support war, ask them, what is in it for them? What is in it for them? This is a very sad human situation. And number 7, I have, as I said before, is the world is questioning another labeling again that is used to the advantage of Israel, the Israeli government, the Zionist movement, anti-Semitism. And at this point, I think they have trademarked it so that, make it exclusive for them. So that if you want to criticize, they can sue you, they can hurt you. We know this game. And the world has seen this. And we know what spirituality is. We know what religion is. We know what peace is. And I want to say to Israel and to everybody, it's not business as usual. There is a great awakening and you cannot fool the people anymore. And Israel, people are calling you to take responsibility and to stop that nonsense. And these people they're like, the world is like family. If you criticize someone in your family, you want the best for them. When they're going the wrong path, we want the best for them. We want the best for the government of Israel and the Zionists. We want what humanity wants, but it's not exclusive to you. So do not shut us up when we say, when we criticize you. And I said before, again, I am saying these things confidently because I am a student of history, of geography, of multiculturalism, of multi-religious societies. I've studied religion. I know what spirituality is. I have studied spirituality, and there's a difference between that and religion. I understand politics very well. I'm a student of genealogy. And we will have to address this anti-Semitic situation and really figure it out. So where do we go from here? How will this Israel-Palestinian conflict end? We are all praying for the end of it. And I think we are all doing our very best, even those that are not speaking about it like we are. I know you are praying about it. You are thinking about it. You are wishing for the end of it. So we'll wait and see, because it has to end. It has to end. And it better end today, now. Now. If you like this message at all, if it has inspired you, or if it has challenged you, and if if it's made you uncomfortable, upset, angry, I would like to hear your comments. Please comment below this video. Let's interact about it, because there are many views about this topic. I'd like to encourage you to share it with others so they can also be challenged, motivated, inspired. But we gotta be we need to engage in this topic. Do not be left out. And please subscribe to my channel so that we can interact further about this topic and other future topics. Thank you.